Man, no matter how many times we do this, I always typically botch that in the beginning. I flashed the background before I played the intro mountain clip thing.
I don't even think that's no big.
And for those listening on the podcast, that means nothing to you, but
yeah, zero concerns.
If you're looking on YouTube, you can probably get some comedic value out of it. What is going on, sir?
Not a lot, man. Not a lot. Just bracing for a final bout of winter. It sounds like. Well, hopefully it's the final bout, but like we're supposed to get
that snow. There's a snowstorm kind of going through. I think Chicago area. Is that what's coming to you?
Well, that one, the ones in Chicago now, is just going to like go. It's going to hit Toledo and like the northwest corner of Ohio.
Okay.
And so that one will be okay, but it sounds like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, like across those 3 days, we could get a total of like 4 inches of snow. Which I mean, it's not crazy.
It's not terrible, but
it's not crazy.
It's just defeating.
Yeah, I mean, like it's been in like the 30s. You know what I mean? It's been in the 30s, like even like 33, 34. So it hasn't by no means has it been warm, right? But it's that increase in the temperature. Like, oh baby, we're getting ready to get out of it, and then I just happened to look out on the 7 day. I'm like, son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the Midwest, man. Like,
yeah.
Seems like the good spring weather. You get these teasers, and it just takes forever.
Just comes back and kicks right. Speaking of spring weather, it's rained here. It's 33 and it's rained basically on and off all afternoon. You know what I mean? So you're just like, it's springy, right? And like, nope.
We're in the first of like a 3-day rainstorm right now.
Yeah.
Atmospheric river.
I mean, you all need that rain too. So
yeah, not complaining.
Yeah,
gives me an excuse to stay inside and not go run.
It is funny because I was looking at those. I'm like, all right, well, I gotta try to get the run in. Maybe I might do like my long run on like Saturday before it gets like snow. You know what I mean? So it is thanks. I was looking at it like that way, and then Sunday's just an all-way rest day. But the other funny thought I had, this goes back to you and I talking about like, stuff slowly starting to come back to life for me. It is funny because I was looking at some of my paces, and like the lie that I've convinced myself is that I'm just doing the glaze kind of technique of like, because you look at his runs and like they're like legitimately like always 12-minute miles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like shuffling along.
It's just my lie. That's my lie I'm telling myself is that I'm purposely running that slow to stay healthy. Not that that's all the faster my poor old knees can let me go anymore.
Yeah. Well, anything helps.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we got
a little conversation today.
Yeah, we got some race results to go over. We'll find out how Johnny and I did on our Black Canyon picks. We have a few FKTs to go over. Update on Karel out doing that FKT in New Zealand. It's he's crushing it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. For those that only listen for the first 5 minutes, I guess it's worth it. Story in Ultra Running Magazine about the youngest finisher of the Rocky Mountain Slam. It's pretty interesting. Women's 48-hour treadmill record, like set again after a month after it got set previously. So talk about that. And the 3 T's, we're gonna talk some sticks.
Sticks, baby. Not the band.
Not the band. No. The tool, the tool for hills. All right. So let's jump into Black Canyon.
Right to
Black Canyon was this weekend, and this is one of those premier races that attracts a ton of talent. And it was it lived up to the hype again. You know, and we'll talk about the men's race first. The men's race. So Seth Ruling ran a pretty awesome race. He was in second place for a while, and let's see at aid station 6 at mile 37, Eli Hemming was in the lead, and it looked like he was taking control of the race, but then Ruling started to make his move, chipped away at the lead, increased the distance on the third place runner, and by aid station 8, which is mile 51, Ruling had worked his way into first place and put almost 2 minutes between him and Hemming. So he ended up holding on for the victory. And String Bean, Joe McConaughey, was third. Now, just to give you an idea of how fast these guys were running, Seth came in 7 hours and 24 minutes, which is like a good over 5 minutes better than Hayden Hawks' course record from last year. So Seth gets the new course record at Black Canyon 100K, and Will Murray, the second place runner, he came in at 7 hours and 26 minutes, which also is under the Black Canyon course record, better than 3 minutes than the course record. And String Bean was only like a little over a minute behind.
Like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
crazy.
And the top 10 men all went under 8 hours. It's just insane, because it wasn't long ago, like 2 years ago, that 8 hours was like pretty top notch.
Yeah.
So I think they
it's
shattered
crazy.
Last year. That got shattered. So, my question for you, Johnny, like, when do you think this peaks, right? Like, every year we're seeing course records, like runners just getting faster and faster.
Yeah.
Does there come a point where it's like, this record is unbeatable, or it's going to stand for a really long time?
So here's the good news or bad news, however you look at it, is I don't think we're done breaking this record. And here's why, is you had two guys essentially break last year's record. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
it's right there. If two dudes could run sub 30, this year, then it reasons to believe that you're going to have more guys able to get down around that range again. You know what I mean? And keep flirting with it. You know what I mean? Like, especially with the fact that Murray was, quote unquote, only 2 minutes behind Ruling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, iron sharpens iron, right? And so even when you read the article or if you watch the race, these guys, like, here's the wild thing. These guys ran this race a lot like you would watch like a 1,600 meter race or a 5K cross country course. Like, they ran it like the tactics of it. You know what I mean? Like Ruling and Murray and everybody just kind of hung out. You know what I mean? They just kind of like, they kept it. It's like watching a like a pack of wolves slowly wear down like a herd of buffalo. Like they just stayed right with, like, just like kind of constantly nipping, and then they're like, all right, here we go, boom, and they hammered it. And like, I feel like, I mean, there's always been tactics to these elites, right? They've always been a little. Like, I remember reading funny things about, I can't remember what runner it was. Maybe Jurek, or maybe it's Killian, or maybe it's, I don't know, Killian Jornet, Killian Walmsley, Jurek, one of those. I remember reading a thing about where they used to mess with the person in front of them. They turn off their headlamps.
Yeah.
And then kick it back on and kick it back. Like, just mess with it. Like, so there's always been that sportsmanship, but like the tactics of the racing. So all of this is a very long answer for me to say. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You were going to finish.
All of this is a very long-winded way for me to say. I think it really depends on as long as there continues to be really, really, really high-end competition, then it'll keep getting pushed, right? But like, maybe a year comes where like it's not as deep of a field, and thus the first place person's like, I'm still running hard, but like not being nipped at. You know what I mean? So, but up until then, like, this is going to be a ridiculously. By the way, the weather was chef's kiss.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They had great weather.
Just so ridiculous. So, anywho. I don't think we're done with this one.
I'm glad you brought that up because Murray didn't move into second place until he was going into the last aid station at mile 59. So he was definitely kind of, like you said, waiting or like saving it some for the end. And String Bean, Joe McConaughey, he also, it says even in this article from I Run Far that he ran a tactical race moving into the top 10 around the halfway point. So he didn't even get into the top 10 until halfway. And he must have passed Hemming in the last couple miles too, because Hemming, had gotten passed by Murray going into that last aid station. Oh, and by the way, this is a golden ticket race for Western States. And I believe there's 3 golden tickets on the line for the men and the women in this one. So Seth Ruling and William Murray both got golden tickets, and Joe McConaughey grabbed the last golden ticket for the men. So congrats to them. Oh, and for our picks, I had Hans Troyer in first, and he got the flu. On Friday, the day before the race, he got the flu and he had to withdraw. Canyon Woodward was my second place, and he ended up in 8th. So at least he was top 10. Upiter did not break the top 10, and Jared Hazen was my wild card, and he dropped at some point. And who was your number 1, Johnny?
I will fully admit I cannot even remember who my picks were for the guys.
Well, Jared Hazen was number 1.
Oh, Hazen was. That's right. Yeah, Hazen was one. Did I have String Bean somewhere in my top? I remember looking at him, thinking about it, but then I don't know if I pulled the trigger on it.
No, you had Ryan Miller in second, Zach Perrin in third, and your wild card was Juan Casas.
So at least Perrin took 10th.
You got one person in the top 10. I had one person in the top 10. So,
dude, I'm scrolling down through. I'm scrolling, and I only see some of my other picks.
Yeah,
like a javelina might have eaten them.
Yeah, there's just so many.
Juan Casas.
Yeah.
42nd.
Oof. There's just so many new. There's just so much new talent on the scene now.
It's crazy.
It's hard to keep up with, So we usually stick to names that we're familiar with, but all right. Let's get into the women's race. This was also a stellar race. Actually, there was a really good Facebook page that covered this.
Oh yeah.
It was a historic day for the women's race. Riley Brady delivered an absolute masterclass, shattering the course record by nearly 30 minutes with an 8-hour and 16-minute finish to take the win. Tara Dower pushed deep to claim second place, also finishing under the previous course record by 20 minutes. So in the women's race, you had the first and second place women. Well, Riley is non-binary, but running in the women's category. So first and second place, both crushing the course record.
Yeah.
By 30 and 20 minutes. And then MK Sullivan was third in 8 hours and 48. Tara's time was 8:25, by the way, and MK is 8:48, which is the fourth fastest time ever. So Riley already has a golden ticket. So the fourth place finisher, Lin Chen, got a golden ticket. So Tara, MK, and Lin Chen all got golden tickets. Riley Brady I think they were top 10 at Western States. So automatic entry. Let's see. Mary Denholm had an early lead. And Riley Brady and Heather Jackson were hot on her heels. Brady and Denholm ran together for a while, followed by Tara Dower, Lin Chen by the halfway point. Top 5 looked different. Brady extended their lead. Denholm dropped out of the race. Dower moved past Heather Jackson in the second, Chen in fourth, ahead of MK Sullivan. And by mile 37, Brady's lead to increase by 2 minutes over Dower. And she just continued to put time in between. And they pretty much held out in that order. So, and Tara Dower, by the way, she's definitely bumped up to elite,
God, yeah. Oh yeah.
She's just in a zone these days. She got first overall at Umstead last year. She broke the Appalachian Trail record, like faster than any person has ever done it. First person, I think, to under 41 days. I think under 41 days. Anyway, so she had a great race, but she's a self-proclaimed I don't know if she said the word klutz, but she falls a lot. And I think you sent me that picture over the weekend. Like, she was just bloody. Like,
it's insane. It's insane.
Bloody everywhere. She has that famous picture of the cactus in her from Javelina a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it is nuts. Like, I think she just runs with so much reckless abandonment that she just falls. You know what I mean? Like, I think I don't know how she survives an East Coast run. You know what I mean? Like,
right. She used to live in Virginia.
Oh my God. Like, I can't even imagine. Could you imagine her on the grindstone course? Or, you know what I mean? It'd be brutal. So
it would.
Yeah.
It would. And, there is a lot of rocks at Black Canyon. I must admit, I fell 3 times, including falling
the
finish line. In my defense, there was a little dip in the ground right before the finish line. But anyway, that was my claim to fame, getting interviewed by HAW. So it was worth it in that respect. But anyways, looking at the times here, Riley Brady again, 8 hours and 16 minutes. They crushed it. And Tara Dower, 8:25. Both of them, like we said, were under the course record. MK was 8:48, Lin Chen 8:50. And Johnny, you actually did really well with your picks here. You had Riley Brady winning it for the women.
Yeah.
You had Tara Dower in second. So both of those came true. You had Sylvie Abel in third. She didn't break the top 10. And your wild card was Abby Hall, who got fifth. So
So not too shabby.
Nicely done. I had Annie Hughes in first, and I don't see her in the top 10. Riley Brady second, who ended up winning. Katie Asmith, I had her in third. She did not break the top 10, and I had Tara Dower was my wild card. So I had two of the podium finishers, not in order, but in my top 3 and wild card. So nicely done on those picks.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
like we talked about earlier, a little bit of luck. a lot of luck.
Yeah. Well, no, it's good. That's what keeps the sport interesting, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I love the mom and pop races, and I prefer those family style events. But then again, the events where there's a lot of talent that show up are also exciting, just from a pure like spectator or fan of the sport. It's really fun watching the live streams and and following it. There's definitely some excitement there. Okay. Well, that was Black Canyon, and looking forward to the next. I don't know if it's the next golden ticket race, but Canyon's 100K is the golden ticket race, and Hans Troyer is gunning for his golden ticket at Canyon. So
that dude, he cannot.
He's cursed with Black Canyon.
He cannot catch a break.
Yeah, I know. Not with Black Canyon anyway.
Yeah.
He's definitely, yeah, he even had an Instagram post or something how he's cursed when it comes to Black Canyon. And he's like, I've been thinking about the race all year. Like for a whole year, he's been thinking about it. I feel bad for him. But the flu is going around right now. That's for sure. Yeah. All right. Next race was Rocky 50. So Rocky Raccoon, they have their 100-mile race, which is their big event, and that was last weekend. And then the next weekend they do their 50-mile and 50K races. And this is in Texas, pretty nice trails. In the 50-miler, and we're just going to go over the winners now because our times, our recording times have been kind of long. So, we apologize to the second, third place people, but unless it's a big event, we're pretty much going to stick to the winners now. But Joshua Gatega won the 50-miler at Rocky 50 in 8 hours and 17 minutes, and Rosie Rigas was first for the women in 8 hours and 58 minutes. Algonquin 50K in Pocomoke City, Maryland. This is I think this is a pretty well-known 50K. I've heard the name a few times. I think we probably covered it last year, but it takes place in the Chesapeake Forest and Pocomoke State Forest, also on Maryland's eastern shore. It's modified out and back. The middle portion is different, going up and returning. 95% trail, some single track, some wider, completely flat. And it begins and ends at Milburn Landing area of the Pocomoke River State Park. And in the 50K, we had Daryl Dorsey, 4 hours and 15 minutes to win for the men, and Maria Miller, 4 hours and 39 minutes for the women.
This would be an interesting race to go run, just because any given year, right? Like, look at the times on the races, like the swing in them, right? So you go from like 4:15 down to like,
3:46.
Yeah, like you got some swing, and I noticed that. I'm like, well, good God. And like you said, it's flat. The pictures, if you go to this place's website, there are legitimately pictures of their race that it looks like they're just walking through a creek. Like it's ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude, they're like on their website. It is. Yeah. You scroll down a little bit, and dude, there's pictures where there's people in shorts and t-shirts, and then there's pictures of people like bundled up like they're getting ahead to Antarctica. And then there's pictures of and then, like, so if you scroll down, like it's insane. Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. But like there was like full on running down rivers or mud holes.
Like the trail's a river.
Yeah, it is. And it's like I can see where this race would be like fun, but also like hell nah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like,
yeah, you're right. There's definitely like people in
It is-
shorts and t-shirts in some pictures. Some people with winter gear on.
Such an interesting race. Like, I guess
Look
it's
at
just
there's
that time-
snow. There's snow in this, so they
Yeah.
have snow sometimes.
I guess it's just that neck of the woods of Maryland this time of
Yeah.
year, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
really interesting.
You never know which weather you're gonna get. The trails
So
look
wild.
nice.
The trail looks super cool. Actually, there's one trail. There's that one photo. It looks like there's like a fisheye lens on it. Looks kind of cool. It's like a little single track down through some pines. It looks like.
Oh yeah.
Right there, bottom left, bottom right.
Yeah, that does look nice. That's cool.
Interesting race.
Yeah. Oh, I did forget in that Rocky 50 there was a 50K as well. So Jordan West won that in 4 hours and 16, and Nicole Bitter 4 hours and 26 for second. So next race is Coyote Wall Trail Races. This is in White Salmon, Washington.
Beautiful.
Just from this picture, you can see
Golly,
the Columbia River Gorge down there. It just looks awesome. And if you look to the top left, you see that?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's Mount Rainier.
I think it is too. Dude, this race like I'm over on their oh my god, dude, I gotta get out and do this race. I'm on their ultra sign up, and I'm kind of just thumbing through their thumbnail photos. Dude, this race is absolutely insane. This race is insane.
So it's in the Cascade Rain Shadow ecosystem with minimal amounts of repeated trails. Mount Hood's imposing volcanic pyramid. Oh wait,
it's Hood. Is that Hood, not Rainier then?
Yeah, so this must be in southern Washington on the Oregon border.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Columbia River Gorge, right? Runs right through Portland.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, that's Mount Hood there. I didn't know where at in Washington that White Salmon was, but so anyways, Douglas Fir Forest, oak savanna grasslands with seemingly endless viewscapes of the Columbia River Gorge, rugged, sometimes technical, fairly steep course that will challenge even the most seasoned runners. Due to steep climbs and technical terrain, these are not considered beginners courses. Runners are strongly encouraged to have prior trail running experience. There's a 9.5 hour cutoff for the 55K and a 5.5 hours for the 25K. Adequately prepared trail runners of all speeds will be able to finish. Adequately prepared runners will be able to finish. 9.5 is like for a tough course. I mean, you
just talked hella shit, and then be like, oh, by the way, you got to do it in 9.5 hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, even forget the PR is 10 hours, but that's a tough course. I mean, I'm just saying, like, tough course, you would think you would get 10 hours, but so I'm at their website now. Oh man, did you see this? Look at that,
dude.
Man,
and by the way,
look at that Mount Hood. It looks so cool.
And by the way, it's only an hour and a half. Obviously, you can see Mount Hood in the background. It's only an hour and change outside of Portland. Like, you can fly into Portland, stay the night there, drive out here, run this, head back in, and just consume mass amounts of beer and donuts in Portland.
Yeah. This would be a fun, challenging race.
Ooh, dude.
Oh. They put on a 100-miler too?
Dark Divide. Oh, wait, I've heard of Dark Divide. Dude, the 55K has 8,100 feet of vert.
Nice. Yeah. And technical. That would be a fun race.
Boy, that is. You better bring your big girl and boy panties on that one.
Yeah.
3 days.
Let's see if there's some pictures. Oh man, some of that trail looks pretty nice.
Dude, this is
damn.
dope.
Look at this is cool.
What's funny is like I listen. I'm going to say a comment that I'm going to end up eating in the long run. It doesn't look technical.
you know they only take the pictures in the good parts.
Yeah. The photographer's like, I can't get to that shit. Fuck this. It's sitting over like a beautiful. Like I would enjoy my views too. But like it is funny. It's like every picture is like pretty fucking sweet looking.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool, man. I definitely will look into this. Although it is a February race, early February.
Early February in Southern Washington, i.e., Northern Portland.
Yeah.
I don't.
You get a mixed bag. You can get temperatures in the 30s.
But so it could be a little chilly, but like you're more likely not getting snow. You know what I mean? Like they don't get a ton of snow there.
No.
So it could be a little cold, but like, listen, I'm a girthy lad. I can run in the 30s in shorts and a t-shirt and be pretty happy.
I guess I could definitely train out here in the winter for that.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, this race is dope as shit.
It does look cool.
Like next year, there's just going to be a small entourage of Ultra Running News Network people out there sign up for this race. Just because you and I are sitting here on this podcast drooling over this race right now.
Right.
This thing is ridiculous.
The pictures do look awesome. I'm going to seek out some other pictures of it later. The winner of the 55K this year was Peter Buckley, 4 hours and 33 minutes. Holy shit. That's smoking on that.
3 hours?
4:33.
Oh, 4:33.
Still, with 8,100 feet of climbing on technical and rugged trails.
I mean, I'd be hard pressed to run a marathon at 4:33 on pavement right
now. Huh. Look, there's someone named Owen Buckley that came in sixth. Must be Peter's brother, maybe. Marianne Wilburn was first for the women in 5 hours and 46 minutes. Andrew Bumbelow. Oh no, not Brumbelow.
No, yeah.
All right, that's Coyote Wall Trail Races. Looks tough but awesome.
Dude, that is a dope race.
Next race is Millstone 50K in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And it's 3 10.5-mile loops on the scenic ASC Greenway in Fort Mill, South Carolina. It's not a greenway like many cities and towns are developing. It's a private green space in the suburban Charlotte area, mostly single track technical trail with some gravel road and dirt trail. At least 2 creek crossings with the possibility of more depending on the weather. Most likely be muddy. You should have some trail running experience before taking on this race. Would be a great first time 50K. Numerous opportunities to preview the course throughout the year, as well as a formal preview fun in January. So sounds like it's private, but they do let people in there sometimes, I'm guessing.
Sounds kind of interesting, yeah.
Let's see if their website has any.
Nah, website's not
really.
Not fire.
Yeah, not fire.
Not fire.
Let's see. So there was 61 finishers in the 50K, and John Olar was first in 4 hours and 21, and Heidi Sides first for the women in 4:35. All right, and our last one I want to talk about, and we kind of did a deep dive on this event last year, the Running Up for Air, RUFA, which has multiple branches and, around like Wyoming, Montana, but it started in Utah, and it was, what the heck's his name? Campbell. Jared Campbell, right?
Oh, the founder?
Yeah. So it started off, he was like doing a run, and he was doing training for Barkley, And when he was going up Grandeur Peak in the Salt Lake City area, he would get up to the top and he would see the inversion, the smog all covering the whole valley of Salt Lake. And then he would go down the peak and into the smog and then back up and he would see it. So he was doing repeats, and he decided to start raising money for, for organizations to combat that and, or do research and things like that on the inversion. And it's basically the smog getting trapped in the valley. So anyways, it started blowing up. It became an event and people sign up, and you can do a 24-hour, 12-hour, or 6-hour. And you basically see how many times you can go up and down this incline. And it's no easy trail. It's a 2,600 foot climb, and it's 2.9 miles. So it's almost 1,000 feet per mile, which is insane. And then you come down. So it's 5.8 miles per lap. And then you see how many laps you can do. And it's wintertime in Utah. So it's definitely snow and all that fun.
There was a lot of snow this year.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool.
It's kind of funny because, like, what was it? Thursday or Friday, I was actually interviewing a lady who lives in Salt Lake City. And I'm like,
oh, really?
By any wild chance, have you ever heard of this? She's like, no. But I'm like, so, and so I started talking to her about the inverse. She's like, you have no clue. She's like, it is absolutely insane. She's like, every day almost, it rolls in. She's like, there's a couple things that, like, if it's X or Y, it might not come in. She's like, but it is. She was like, everything you've read about it is absolutely spot on. She's like, it is nuts. So it is really interesting.
Wow. Yeah. And so this event has actually been increasing. Like I said, it's spread out to other states, and even was it who they partner with? Patagonia,
yeah.
And they're putting on events out of their stores, and there's a virtual event on Strava, which we were trying to get people to sign up for last year. Anyway, so this year at the OG course in Salt Lake City, going up and down Grandeur Peak, in the 6-hour, Anna Fisher did 4 laps, and Benjamin Stout did 5 laps for the win. And then Sarah Humble went 7 laps in the 12-hour race, and Tyler Green and Zachary Garner did 9 laps in the 12-hour race.
God, 8 days.
And Tyler did it in 11 hours and 28 minutes. And Zachary did it in 11 hours and 38 minutes. So,
wow.
Yeah. So 9. So let's figure this out. 9 times 5.8 is 52.2 miles. And you got 26.
You know on the it'll tell you the miles if you scroll out.
23,400 feet of climbing.
Yeah.
And 53 miles or whatever it was.
Dude, that is brutal. And like you said, it's heavy snow. So it's not like you like, I mean, I guess the first couple you can try to jog down, but like your quads are just taking an absolute ass beating on this.
Yeah. And then for the 24-hour, Brian Como, he went well, it was still in progress. It didn't show when he stopped, but he was basically on lap 11. Yeah, he did 11 laps.
What's interesting is it says some of them it says stopped here. It doesn't say that on his though.
Yeah, there's like a hand where they stopped.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they had to stop due to some storms or something.
Snow.
He was 3:37 p.m. So he still had a couple of hours left because they started at 6 p.m. on the day before. But I'm guessing he stopped then. So we'll say 11 laps for Brian Como, and Luke Gangi Wellman also had 11 laps for the men. And Kelly Halpin for the women had 10 laps. And yeah, so she got first for the women in 10 laps. Let's see. This is a hard website to kind of follow.
Yeah,
You have to scroll over so far. But Siani Weston was second place female, and she did 9 laps. So in the 24 hour. All right, that was running up for air, Rufa. Okay, we had some FKTs. This one is a San Diego peer-to-peer. I think it's mostly a paved route. It's like a 50K. And I'm one of my Strava friends that I met at Castle Peak 100K, Sara Galinas. She held that FKT. We talked about it in December. Or we talked about it like a year ago, actually. Sarah Wegner, she just set this FKT and she beat it by over a half hour, so 4 hours and 32 minutes. And it's basically running up and down the coast in north of San Diego, from Pacific Beach to going north to Oceanside, which is up by Camp Pendleton. So, and it's 31 miles, 400 meters of climbing. So,
golly days, that is tabletop flat.
Yeah.
I mean, that is 50K. Crazy for a 50K.
Yeah, the male supported is the male unsupported is 3 hours 36 minutes. Sara did it in 4 hours and 32.
I feel like this is one of those ones where like it's like if someone's going to see it and be like, oh hell, I can smoke that. You know what I mean? Like this is one of the ones that's like, I mean, 3:36. Don't get me wrong. That's not a 50K to sneeze at, but a 50K that is 400 meters to climb, and oh by the way, you're running, Southern Cal where the weather's pretty moderate. Yeah. Like that, this thing is just waiting to have a sub 3 hour dropped on it by some dude. Just come out and just smoke it.
Yeah, it's paved too, so I think it's mostly paved. Yeah.
Yeah.
The female supported FKT on that's 4 hours and 30 minutes. So Sara almost beat the supported, and she went unsupported. The other FKT that I wanted to look at was this one in Indiana, Adena Trace. And it's 26 miles. It's 2,500 feet of climb. And it goes around, well, not all the way around. Looks like halfway around this lake.
No, it goes all the way. You mean it bisects. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like halfway.
Yeah, there must be
there's a bridge or something. Oh, there's a road. Yeah. There's a causeway.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is in Indiana, like not far from the Ohio border. So it's like south east of Indianapolis. It's between Indianapolis and Cincinnati, basically.
Yeah.
And it'd be cool if this trail goes around this lake. It's a marathon distance, 2,500 feet of climb. Looks like in 2002, volunteers with the Hoosier Hikers Council and the American Hiking Society constructed the new Woodlands Trail to replace a portion on the east side of the reservoir that borrowed a road through 1998. So, yeah, and the FKT was just set by Toton Bertsch, unsupported men's FKT, and he went 3 hours and 34 minutes.
You know what's kind of funny about that is like that looks like it's probably kind of flat, right? Like, but like that 2,500 feet of gain in 26 miles.
Yeah.
Like the weird thing about that, right? There's actually a really good example of it.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that is it's those really steep downs and really steep ups of like the draws of like of the like they are a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like they're it's not like you can just like there's sure shit no sustained downs or climbs. It's just like it's like these little like
it's rolling punchy
little like you could probably reach the top of it and touch kind of bullshit things, but they're like almost strapping down. Like they're a pain in the ass. Every time I go out and mess around at Alum Creek on come on, who's the trail runners out of Columbus?
Rocks
and Roots. Every time I go out and mess around a Rocks and Roots course, I'm like, okay, this will be kind of enjoyable. And I get like down to the end of it, I'm like, mother, because it has those stupid little ups and downs. I'm like, I hate these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a really cool. I wonder if there's a portion of this. I wonder if there's I would assume, right, that there's a part of this that goes around the northern part of that lake too, right? Like I you know what I mean? Like
it didn't.
I don't know.
The description said it. The description said that Adena Trace is 25 miles total.
Yeah. That is kind of cool little.
It completes the 25-mile loop in place today. So yeah, I don't know if it goes north of there or not, but it'd be cool to go check that out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's check in on Karel, the Belgian dentist, who's rocking an FKT out in New Zealand right now.
Destroying an FKT.
It's like ridiculous. Like I'm thinking, so he's 28 and a half days into it right now. And the current FKT is 49 days and 14 hours. And like I said, he's 28 and a half days in, and he is like not far from the finish. I mean, I would say a couple days at the most. He's just absolutely destroying this thing.
Yeah.
It's the whole length of New Zealand, both the North and South Island. And yeah, he's almost done where the current FKT holder was just starting on the South Island at this time.
It's insane. The little camera things, are those his photos or are those photos that's been taken over all the years, you think?
I think that's.
Oh wait, no, it's his. Right? Yep. It's like.
I'm wondering though, like, if.
Because isn't that him? That one photo you just popped up, that was him, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm wondering if anybody. Oh, dude, look at that.
Yeah. There's some pretty wild ones. There's one where there's the fog so bad you can't even see.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is. I think these are his photos.
Yeah, they are. That's him again. Looks like pretty awesome though.
It looks beautiful. Yeah.
There was a picture of him that he posted on Facebook here when he was at the high point of the whole trail, which is 1,925 meters at Stag Saddle. And he said only downhill from here, 600K to go. And that was a couple days ago. So
go on the map. On the map, go to the one at Stag Saddle. It is, if you're looking at the map, right where it says South Island, it's the little camera icon right above it. It is right
here.
Yep. Look at that.
Oh yeah, that's the high point.
Yeah.
Taking the all-weather valley route. Don't worry, it's also official. Oh yeah, he didn't have to take that route, but he wanted to go to the high point on the trail. I read that.
This is a pretty cool FKT. I mean, it's like this is like otherworldly accomplished. Like
yeah, they had to ford some water. I think there's areas where you have to like canoe. I don't know. It sounds pretty wild.
It is an interesting FKT for sure.
Yeah, and he is just absolutely destroying it. I mean, it's not even close. So
no,
he could take a few days off, have a few drinks, and then go back out and finish it.
I mean, yeah, dude, he could fly back home and do a couple dental operations,
do some root canals.
Yeah, I mean, like,
right. So yeah, I'm sure we'll report next week that he's wrapped it up. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, the Rocky Mountain Slam saw its youngest finisher, 25-year-old Kaden Coleman, a firefighter from, I believe, from Utah. He was the youngest to finish the Rocky Mountain Slam. And the Rocky Mountain Slam, there's different slams. There's a Grand Slam, which is
Midwest,
like Vermont, Western States, I think Leadville, Wasatch. And then there's like, there's the original 600, which includes the Grand Slam plus Old Dominion and Angela's Crest, I believe. And then you got, like Johnny said, the Midwest Slam. You have I think there's other slams, but this is maybe the toughest out of the slams. This is the Rocky Mountain Slam. And the original 4 races were, if you did them all in 1 year, were Hard Rock, Leadville, Bear, and Wasatch, which is like, that's just like 4 super hard races. But due to increasing difficulty of getting in to Hard Rock, and also there's a Leadville lottery, there's a Wasatch lottery. Bear you can get into, it's first come first serve, but you have to be ready to sign up right away. Which I did Bear in 2021. Love that race. It's incredible. The aspen trees are turning. It's really something. So anyways, due to the difficulty of getting into some of those races, the founders of the Rocky Mountain Slam added a few more races that you could choose from to do for your 4 races. And that's Scout Mountain in Idaho, Bighorn in Wyoming, Ouray in Colorado, and Wyoming Range in Wyoming. All those are very difficult races. And to complete, you must run a combination of 4 races in 1 year. The Bear 100 and 3 other events of their choosing. So you have to do Bear, I guess.
Bear's the mandatory.
Yeah. Leland Barker, who's the race director for Bear, was one of the founders of the Rocky Mountain Slam. So
hence the Bear always being in.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. What's crazy is the 4, well, obviously Bear, but then the 3 races that he chose as his other races. Like there's one race on there's 2 races on there that I'm not going to lie, I would probably like, all right, how the fuck do I avoid these 2 races? Mm-hmm. And like he straight did one. I was like, Ouray is one of Ouray and Hard Rock. I would be like, all right, like let's think around. Let's think around. Try not to do those 2.
Yeah,
but he did. Ouray's one of the races he did.
Yeah, so he did Scout Mountain, Ouray, Wyoming Range, and Bear. And just to say how difficult this slam is, since 1999, there's been a total of 77 finishers.
God.
with an average of 3 racers completing the series each year. You know, basically all these races are like hard rock qualifiers pretty much.
Yeah.
So anyways, it requires training, money, patience, intense logistical planning. And basically you better have some really awesome friends and family that want to help you out.
Dude, I can't even wrap my head around. By the way, we definitely put out there. We talked like this dude's the youngest to ever finish this series. Right? Like I just want to make sure like that it's like this dude is, and he's 25. So it's not like he's like. I think what's funny about that for me, or you know, it's 25. Like when I first saw a youngest person finishes it in my head, I'm like 18, 19. You know what I mean? Some wild.
That's what I thought too.
You know what I mean? And then you're like 25, like, dude, like what the F? The level of like hard that this is, that is like, no, youngest person ever do it, 25. Like it's just nuts. Just nuts.
Yeah. And the training, I can't even imagine. It says as a firefighter, he had to be creative with his work schedule, the ability to trade shifts, and more importantly, work extensive overtime hours to cover the logistical costs. So he signed up for smaller races throughout his training, used them as a buildup. In January, he ran 5 races, and of last year, he ran 5 races in 5 months. Between events, he ran hundreds of miles and climbed tens of thousands of feet. And all he could do is hope he'd done enough. Then he did Scout Mountain in Idaho, and it's over 22,000 feet of climbing. And he finished the race in 28 hours and 33 minutes, which is really impressive. But this article in Ultra Running magazine said that the day after that race, he was filled with dread because it was so hard. He was feeling a bit broken down, and he decided that the Rocky Mountain Slam could wait, and Ouray would be his. That was the race he was looking forward to the most, which is over 40,000 feet of climbing, would be his last race of the summer. But he was doing Ouray, and he at some point during the event, it says he felt a spark of courage and decided he needed to give the Wyoming Range 100 a try. And but he didn't know was that Wyoming would be the crux of his summer racing. So that's a really hard race. 3 weeks after finishing Ouray, Kaden and his wife were on their way to Wyoming Range 100. So that's like 3 weeks difference. Can you imagine Ouray and Wyoming?
Dude, like 3 weeks. I mean, here's the good thing though. Really, you're probably pretty recovered, right? And so it's, I don't know. You probably got.
It takes me a good month, man. I don't know.
3 weeks. 3 weeks is pretty. This dude's 25 too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Oh God, I know. I'm still 3 weeks.
So
brutal.
Wyoming Range is a point to point, and it has an average above sea level of 8,600 feet, and tops out near 12,000 feet. The course is incredibly remote, located deep in bear country, and has 24,000 feet of climbing. There are typically around 50 people who start the race each year, and so you spend a lot of alone time. And that was true of Kaden, who did no help.
Only 50 starters for which one? That was
Wyoming Range.
Oh.
His only crew is his wife Savannah, and looks like she met him at each aid station where there was crew access. There were sections of the course that proved to be long and difficult and intense because it's so remote that these sections are super long. He was in a terrifying storm at mile 85 and a long 15 miles to the finish. After sprinting from the path of a rock fall from a ridge above a trail, he knew he'd finish the race.
So, all right. So, what is the cutoff for? All right, Wyoming has a cutoff of 48 hours. So Wyoming has a really long cutoff, but like you're saying, you're out there by yourself for a pretty long time.
That's a tough race too. 24,000 feet of climb. I bet those trails are super technical.
What's Scout Mountain's cutoff? I can't seem to find it.
I'm not sure with that one, but I will say Scout Mountain has a pretty cool buckle. Looking in this picture,
that's there. There's just the bottom left.
Yeah.
I mean, Uray's the coolest one in there by far.
Yeah.
That fucking sick. That green, that thing's fucking sick.
Is that on the right or the left?
No, Uray is the top.
Oh, I see. Uray's the left. Yeah, top left.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing is like pretty ornate.
Yeah, that green is pretty sick.
Yeah, Wyoming
so
Range is pretty cool too. But
all right, so let me ask you this: of the 4 races he did, which is the easiest that you like? I can go do? Well, you've done one of them, but which one do you think is the easiest of the 4 that he did?
Oh, probably Bear. I'm sure. What's the cutoff on Scout Mountain 100?
I cannot find. Yeah, I cannot find it.
36 hours.
So I mean, like it's like this. I don't know. Again, getting ready to say something really stupid out loud, dude. Wyoming Range having a 48-hour cutoff. You know what I mean? Like it's. I mean, yeah, you're out there by yourself, but like 48 hours is for
it's 105 miles. I will, I had a 48-hour cutoff at Fat Dog 120, which ended up being like 127 or 128 miles. And I needed almost all 48 hours. So here's the thing, when it's so remote that there's long stretches between aid stations.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And those aid stations oftentimes are anemic when they're remote aid stations because they can't get much supplies out there. So they have like water, maybe some basic nutrition. Usually no place to sit down. It's just it's rough.
It's a different race for sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Wyoming 100, and then he went and did Scout Mountain. Or I'm sorry, Bear was the final one. So, or he didn't do. Did he do? When was Scout?
Yeah, he did. He did Bear.
Oh, he started with Scout. Yeah, he started with Scout Mountain. Okay. Yeah, that's right. And he was so tore up from Scout. Yeah. Then Bear was his final race, which is the celebration. So there's 22,000 feet of climbing at Bear. And there is some runnable trail at Bear for sure. It's a great race. It's, I mean, I would do it again, like for a Hard Rock qualifier for sure.
Oh yeah.
Not this year. But actually, I do need a Hard Rock qualifier this year. But I'm just kind of on a break, so I'm just like struggling with that mentally.
Something will strike your fancy.
There's really only a couple late season options, and that's like Run Rabbit Run or Moogie and Monster. And Moogie and Monster, my interest has peaked on it a little bit, but the problem, like one thing, it's not a Western States qualifier.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like Run Rabbit Run would do both Hard Rock and States, but do I even really want to run Western States? Western States is like, this seems miserable because of the heat. Like, I don't know. It's you have to be fast at Western States too to cut up. It's hard. It's harder than people think. I don't know. I think Hard Rock is more of like my style of race, like
your mentality.
A slow slog up the mountains and
strong, just big, strong dude kind of doing a race. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that fast, hot. Like I don't do heat very well and I'm definitely not fast. So anyways, not to take away from Kaden. Congrats to Kaden. That's very impressive. I mean, not many people have done the Rocky Mountain Slam. So especially at age 25, he's got a lot of years ahead of him to do some fun stuff. So
yeah, it does.
There's a new. Okay, so like a month ago, we were just saying how Sophie Power broke the treadmill 48-hour record.
I don't even think it's a month ago. I think it was like a week. Crazy.
Maybe 3 weeks ago. If that. Sophie Power set the record on the 48-hour treadmill at 226 miles. Rex Stine, who has really a great multi-day runner who's broken records. She just did it at I think it was some event. I don't know what was going on. There was a few treadmills set up. It might have been a charity event, actually. I think it was. There was even some like person from the news there that was running. But anyways, Rex set a new 48-hour treadmill record. She ended up with 237 miles, so she beat Sophie's record by 11 miles. And that happened over the weekend. There was a live cam on those treadmills too. It was kind of cool. All right, now it's time. It's time for the 3 T's.
TTT. It is kind of fitting because we were talking about the races we were just talking about. So it is kind of fitting that this is the triple T for the week.
Tips, tricks, and thoughts.
Oh.
Tips, tricks, and thoughts.
There it is. It is kind of fitting that we're just talking about mountain races and stuff like that.
The Rocky Mountain Slam, which there's definitely a tool or tools that would be very helpful in these mountain races.
Yeah.
Trekking poles.
Good old trekking poles. So
I think with our tips, tricks, and thoughts, the 3 T's on trekking poles, I think really this is like a 2-part thing. One, we should talk about whether to use them or not and when. And 2, like pros and cons of using them, and any other factors. So I'll go first if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I prefer to be hands-free. I don't like to hold water bottles in my hands.
Yeah.
I don't like trekking poles just for this reason. Well, a few reasons. 1, for balance on downhills. 2, I like to be able to grab gels and eat, without having to tuck poles under my arms. And, if you're drinking from a water bottle, it's easy just to grab it. And plus I just after a while, I just get tired of having shit in my hands. So
yeah,
I won't use poles unless it's like a mountain race or, like serious climbing. I used poles at Bear, or no, well, at the beginning of Bear, I used poles. I used poles at Fat Dog for a lot of Fat Dog. I used poles at 2 sky races, like Mount Diablo 50K and Broken Arrow. And they do come in handy, right? Poles, they do serve a purpose. They definitely help with the steeper climbs. They're good in 100-mile races when you're tired. They're nice to lean on. I don't really have much experience with other brands. I know Lecky poles are very popular. They're light. I use the Black Diamond Carbon Z poles, and they fold up really easily and extend really easily. There are poles out there that don't even like break down, which I don't know. I wouldn't like that. They are lighter, but they don't break down. The Carbon Z poles work well for me. And one thing I'll say about poles is it's not something that you can just pull out and use on a race like once a year, because your triceps are going to be obliterated.
Tricep, your back.
Oh yeah,
your shoulder.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Your back will be killing you. It's something that you have to practice with. you have to practice, and you know that, or you have to lift weights or something. But just getting the feel for how they work well, and they are really great for downhills too. On like steep technical downhills, they're great. You can, and downhills in general, you can take a little bit of pounding off your legs and stuff. But definitely, I would recommend watching some YouTube videos or listening to some podcasts. What's his name? The guy that Coop, Jason Coop, like his Coopcast or whatever, his podcast. He has people on, like, it's very scientific. It's kind of hard to follow sometimes, but they talk about poles and whatnot. So I would say they can come in very handy in the mountain races or anything with steep climbing. Not, in my opinion, not really necessary for anything with like low to moderate climbing, but some people prefer to use them. And I guess if you're, if you're older and, if they help you in races with low to moderate climbing, that's cool too. It's personal preference. I think I prefer to use them for super steep, hard climbing type races, but I would prefer to go hands-free more than that. The other things that they can get annoying, like on tight single track, if there's not much room to use the poles and they're just like brushing up against shit, and like it can get annoying. And you have to keep track of them. So when you go to an aid station, and you lay your poles down, or you have to go to the bathroom when you're out on the trail and you lay your poles down, you're going to be tired, and
tired ass stagger off without one of them.
And it's easy just to take off and totally forget about your poles. So you got to keep track. My friend Sean, he puts tape on his trekking poles just so he knows which ones are his, because sometimes, multiple people have them.
Yeah.
But they can be useful too if you're taking a dirt nap at night. You put your poles pointing in the direction that you were going, so you don't wake up and start going the wrong way down the trail.
Yeah.
And storage of poles. So, you don't always want to be using the poles. So luckily on my favorite vest, Ultraspire, and I know you like Ultraspire too, they have these loops in the back, and it makes it pretty easy to put the poles in and out and cinch them on that loop, and you don't really feel them when you're running. And I really like that. Some people use the quiver, which the quiver would be ideal because it's hassle free, just in and out. But yeah, that's all I got. What do you think about poles?
So I the first time I ever used them was for Tahoe, right? And I actually weirdly kind of remember that they were actually mandatory. Or she said, or it's basically like, they're not mandatory, but if you come out here and do this race without them, you're an idiot. Like, it was like that level thing.
Yeah.
So I used them there. I can't even wrap my head around. So I've used them there. I feel like I used them one year at Mo, just because I had them, and I'm like, well, let me use them at Mo.
Yeah.
Kind of like you were saying, probably made, I'm sure they made a difference, but like, did they make that big of a difference? Probably not. My last attempt at Old Dominion, I was desperate. I was like, this race is just fucking breaking off of my ass. I got to figure something out.
It's your white whale.
It's my white whale. And I'm like, I got to figure something out. And so I'm like, well, let me try poles at Old Dominion. And because like Old Dominion does have some sneaky ass climbs in it. They're not sneaky, like you can very clearly see them. And even on their website, they'll tell you we have 7 challenging climbs. And it's funny, so you're like, I can see 5. And then you get on the other, like, oh shit, there it is. But anyways, I tried them at Old Dominion. The bad thing about them at Old Dominion is Old Dominion has just enough road. Not just enough. Old Dominion has a shit ton of road. And even when it's dirt road, it's hard dirt road.
Mm-hmm.
So the poles never really get into it. And oh, by the way, if you're an easily agitated person like I am, the clickety clackety of the poles on the road drives you absolutely effing insane.
Yeah.
But here's what I will say. If you have strong enough triceps, right? If you have strong triceps and a strong back, it is kind of amazing how even on like the really flat sections, because like when you run Old Dominion, like you climb the mountain and then you end up dropping into the Valley, I think it is, whatever it is. You drop into this valley and you're in that valley for a while, running from the north side of it to the south side of it, I believe. When you're in that valley, it was kind of surprising how much just like using them, almost like cross-country skiing, like it took a little bit off your legs. Clearly not enough to make a fucking bit of difference for me that particular day. Like that race annihilated me that year. But it is interesting how, like, to Jamie, to your point, right? Like people perceive poles of like, oh, it helps me climb. Yeah, they obviously help you climb, but like the amount that they can help you on even flat stuff, where just kind of like propel yourself forward, is kind of nice. But like the other one, oh wait, that's right, I used them at Muck. I used them at Muck that one year.
That's right, you did.
And I just used them weirdly enough at Muck. I only used them going up and going down. But using them going down, it's nice because you put them out in front of you, and then you can almost like just kind of like swing on them, and it takes so much beating off from your quads. So it is really, if you are bombing downhills, if you are just, and like at Muck, we were trying to bomb downhills. Well, Jamie was, I was trying. It is nice.
No, we did.
It is nice to have poles to take that beating off your quads on the downhills. So I'm like you. I'm a massive, when it's right for them, I'm a massive fan of them. Right when it's time for them, they are phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like,
and you know how I know they work? If you're going up a steep climb and you're using your poles, stop using your poles for a few minutes. And that's when you realize that they really do help.
Now, so you actually bring up a really interesting thing also. Here's the one thing I've noticed runners doing. I'm like, that's dumb. And it is like, well, I'm going to save my poles for later in the race.
Oh, yeah.
Your fucking legs don't know that. What are we talking about? You're and so like, it is funny if you're going to use poles in a race.
Yeah.
I think of them the same way I think of like eating and drinking and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like you eat early, you drink early. You eat often, you drink often. Like if you're in a race that requires poles later in the race, dude, don't be a dumbass. Use them early on the climbs also. Like if you're in a mountain race, like there's none of this nonsense like, oh, hold on to them for later. Dude, bust them out on those early climbs too. Your legs will thank you in the back half of the race. So
yeah, that's a good point. Using it, I would recommend always checking the rules of a race that you're going to. Some races, like Western States, don't allow poles.
Yeah.
Some races, it's mandatory. If you start with poles, you have to keep them with you the whole race. Like you can't like use poles for half the race, right? So know the rules.
Yeah. The other thing about poles, and like this is a weird underappreciated part of poles, and like if you're just holding the pole, right? If you're just holding the pole and you're not using the strap is there.
Leverage.
Like it's not there so you don't leave. I mean, don't get me wrong. My dumb ass has definitely put the strap on so I don't leave it at an aid station. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they're great for that purpose too. Yeah. But if you have that strap on correct, like you can let go of the poles and like push down at your wrist and still get. And so the straps are great because it doesn't wear. I mean, your hands will still be tired at the end. Like if you use your straps correctly, it really saves your hand strength. It's funny because I used the Black Diamond Z's also, and like their straps are very, very minimal pulls straps. The Lokis or Lackeys or whatever the fuck they are, they have like a wildly sophisticated, like
they have a glove
and strap system. I know our firefighter buddies, they love the Loki poles because they're firefighter engine red, and so they love that. That way, when they're in races, they can be like, "Look at me, I'm a firefighter, bitches!" And like they're showing up. So I know for a fact that's why one of our buddies runs with it, because he wants everybody to know he's a firefighter and he has the red poles.
Yeah.
So, like use the strap. Like they're there for a reason. It makes a world of difference.
That's a great point, and I like using the straps too for climbing. Yeah. But one thing I will say about the straps is, if you're going downhill, be careful wearing the straps, because if you trip and fall and that pole gets like hung up, you could break your wrist. I mean,
I have
dangerous.
I have also tripped over my own poles going downhill, like playing it in front of me, and then ran right into the motherfucker, and then completely ate shit. So I have legitimately tripped it. And oh, by the way, that hurts like a son of a bitch.
It does.
So bad.
No, trust me, I've definitely like whacked my shins, or I hit my ankle with that sharp blunt tip. I've hit my ankle with that, like sliced my ankle. Like, what the? Ugh.
Now, okay, while we're talking about this, the other part about poles that you have to be careful of is if you're going up a long sustained climb, dude, be cognizant of the people behind you.
Yeah,
because I have straight almost taken people's eyes out with those things. like don't, you know what I mean? Like keep them under you. Don't be jabbing backwards and spearing your fellow trail runners.
Yeah, use etiquette. Use etiquette. It's like Johnny said, be aware of how close somebody is behind you. Don't be swinging them out.
Yeah.
And if you're going downhill, and this is one of my pet peeves, if I'm running behind somebody and they're holding their poles and they're sticking up towards me, I'm like, if you fall and I trip over you, I'm going to get stabbed.
Yeah.
So if you're going downhill, make sure your poles are pointed away from the trail.
Yeah.
And like in a downward slope. Don't let them be pointed towards the trail or in an upward fashion, because you're gonna spear somebody.
Net. I like poles. I'll use them.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I don't train enough with them though. I definitely feel it in my triceps and back when I'm done with, like, oh man, it's brutal. But all right. Good show. If I want everybody is still listening to do us a favor, and if you're in a run club or you're at races or anything, if you're so inclined, just mention our podcast, or let some other people know. We don't make a dime off the podcast. We have, like, this is purely a thing of love.
For our own personal enjoyment.
Yeah, we like doing it. We have fun doing it. We want to build the community and all this. We haven't brought in a penny. We don't advertise. We don't do any of that. We would like to get to a point maybe someday where we have enough downloads to we can run an ad or two just to maybe cover the cost of the software that we use, because it's it's not like super expensive, but it's definitely a chunk. So So yeah, anyway, I'm not saying that we're trying to make money or anything like that. I'm just spread the word, let people know. Let people know about the podcast. If you enjoy the show, we definitely appreciate everybody listening, and we want people to interact with us on social media, and so that's it. All right.
Net, spread the word. Spread the word, folks. Spread the love.
Yes. Thank you all. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. Oh, guess I should play the outro.